I'm John Bachman. Welcome to Newsmax TV. Joining us now on the phone from Washington, D.C. is Matt Kibbe. He is the president and CEO of FreedomWork's, one of the most active and influential grassroots conservative organizations in the country. Matt, thanks for spending a few moments with us.
Hey, thanks for having me.
All right, first I want to ask you if you could give us any insight as to why Dick Armey resigned from FreedomWork's, and what was your reaction when you read his resignation email?
You know, it's kind of the end of an era, and I've been in this town long enough to know that people come and people go, and I wish him well. We did some amazing things together, but it is, if you think about the world we've been in the last 3 or 4 years, it's time for younger voices, new leadership, and that's just the natural course of things, and I think that's where we're headed at FreedomWorks.
Throughout the course of this fiscal cliff negotiation, we've heard a lot about some differences within the GOP. Were there any similarities within FreedomWorks to what we're hearing about on a bigger scale throughout the GOP, more conservative voices arguing with more moderate voices?
Yeah, I think we're in this epic struggle right now here in Washington, D.C., in this country, and it's no longer acceptable to kick the can down the road. Budget deals that make promises in the future only to renege on those and unwillingness to confront the real problems. I think we need to figure out a different way to do things, and that means a principled voice for fiscal conservatism on Capitol Hill, and it means groups that are willing to fight for that. And it's not a partisan thing. We have to be willing to take on both Republicans and Democrats.
And was Dick Armey's resignation from FreedomWorks in any way similar to that difference of opinion within the Republican Party?
No, I don't think so. That was just a transition that was inevitable. Dick has been working in the trenches a long time, and he's 72 years old, and I think he decided that it was time to move on.
Okay, so let's also talk about this fiscal conservative purge, a term being used by FreedomWorks Republican Congressmen David Schweikert, Justin Amash, and Tim Huelkamp were all stripped of their committee assignments by House Speaker John Boehner and the GOP leadership. Now, these congressmen say they got the boot because they refused to toe the party line. What kind of message do you think this sends, not only to members of Congress, but also to the American people?
Oh, I think leadership aides were quite explicit that that's exactly what happened here, and it's an incredibly hostile act against fiscal conservatives who are really the standard bearers for what I think it means to be a Republican. You are for fiscal responsibility. You believe that we shouldn't raise taxes. You believe that we should balance the budget, and you should believe that you keep your promises that you make on the campaign trail when you come to Washington, D.C. I think it's damaging to the Republican brand, and you're seeing this division between those who maybe they've been in Washington a little bit too long. Maybe they think that it's all about making a deal instead of making a difference. But I'm not in that camp, and neither is FreedomWorks.
Well, according to John Boehner's spokesman, Michael Steele, the steering committee made these moves, and I'm quoting him here, based on a range of factors. But of course, you and I both know this will also make it much easier for the Budget Committee to move a deal out to the House floor. Do you think that these moves were made solely for the purpose of helping pass a budget deal that could include tax increases?
It definitely is a signal to people that they have to play ball with leadership if they want their committee assignments, but it's not just about the deal on the fiscal cliff. I think it's about future deals as well. And again, we're not going to get where we need to go if we continue to do things exactly the way we did before. And I think Speaker Boehner and the Republican leadership should embrace those legislative entrepreneurs that are actually willing to put ideas on the table. This is the one thing that's missing in this entire conversation about the fiscal cliff is substantive, positive Republican solutions to tax reform, to entitlement reform, to spending reform. We're just reacting to the president, and that's a losing strategy.
Senator Jim DeMint, Congressman Jim Jordan, Heritage Foundation, FreedomWorks, just a few of the groups that have bashed John Boehner's counteroffer of $800 billion in revenue increases, counteroffer to the president's offer to work out a deal here. Boehner's plan would eliminate loopholes and deductions mainly, but should John Boehner remain Speaker of the House, should he not be able to get a deal done without raising taxes?
I think a lot of the 1990 budget deal and Bob Michael, who was then the Republican leader, and how it was that the young guns like John Boehner rose up against Bob Michael when he decided to cut a deal with a Republican president to raise taxes. I don't think Republicans raise taxes. I think Republicans stand for fiscal responsibility. And by the way, you can't solve a spending problem with a tax increase.
So to answer my question, you do not believe that John Boehner should remain Speaker of the House if he can't get a deal done that does not include budget or tax increases?
Who is Speaker of the House is up to the Republican caucus, but I happen to believe that a majority of Republicans stand with the statement I just made. Republicans aren't interested in raising taxes. That's up to them. That's not up to me.
What happens in 2014 to GOP members of Congress if they do cave on any tax increases? Will FreedomWorks support primary challenges to any Republicans who do vote in favor of tax increases?
Well, we're definitely going to be looking for Republicans in primaries and in general elections who stand on the basic principle that government shouldn't spend money it doesn't have. And taxes are part of that debate. We're not terribly interested in supporting candidates that raise taxes, but we're also looking for something beyond that, because it's not just about opposing taxes either. Do you actually come to the table, like Paul Ryan has, like members of the Republican Study Committee have, like Marco Rubio and Rand Paul and Mike Lee and Jim DeMint have all offered alternative budgets. These are the types of people we're looking for. Am I going to primary everybody that supports higher taxes? No, but am I going to look for opportunities to improve the quality and quantity of real fiscal conservatives in House? Absolutely.
All right, Matt Kibbe, I know you've been working on that for a number of years now, and we'll continue to do so. We want to thank you very much for spending some time with us. Matt Kibbe, President and CEO of FreedomWorks.
Okay, thank you.